Good morning. Happy Saturday. I am sitting in a parking lot right now. I just dropped Timmy off at dialysis. He hasn't been into dialysis for the better part of the past month because of going to the hospital for chemotherapy and then going to the ICU and then spending a good week in recovery after the ICU before coming back home. So now he's back home and now we're kind of sliding into normal routines again. And dialysis 3 times a week for failed kidneys is part of that. And the reason that his kidneys have failed is because multiple myeloma has wreaked havoc on them. Light chains are one of the byproducts of multiple myeloma, and when they filter through the kidneys, they kind of embed in the walls of the kidneys and over time render them useless because they're like shards of glass being magnetized to the walls of the kidneys. And now the filtration systems in his kidneys don't work. So he has to go to dialysis 3 days a week to, filter out all of the impurities in his body and, keep things moving. So this morning, his eyes were really glossy, and that's one of the signs that he's needing dialysis again. So they're going to pull off 1 liter of fluid. Hopefully not too much more than that, because that kind of triggers a whole... that doesn't go over well with his body. So, as I'm sitting here, what you don't see is the leaves outside my car window that have turned yellow. There's a woodpecker in the distance. I'm seeing just grasses and kind of prairie flowers that are surrounding the dialysis center, just waving, and hearing the birds, and just thinking like a year ago this time we were camping as a family, and we really made it a point last year to go camping because it had been a while since we had a farm, and it just took up so much of our time and energy that we just decided we needed to prioritize it. And Tim's pain had really kicked in, quite a bit at that point, but we were able to enjoy ourselves, and it was just a delightful weekend. And so I'm appreciating that we did that trip when we did it, and that I have that as part of my memory, like a memory to kind of draw, something from. It's crazy. Like, the world that we're in right now is, I'm just appreciating like the small moments of, like Timmy's going to the bathroom. He's walking up and down the stairs to get to his room. He's going to bed. He's getting up, he's in our home. And it's really like the day-to-day mundane stuff that's the kind of the center of our world right now, is like navigating day-to-day stuff that's very normal, very usual. There's nothing, awe-inspiring about our day-to-day routines, but it's awesome that he gets to be a part of day-to-day life. When he was in the ICU, one of the things that I was reflecting on as I was driving to and from the hospital was like, oh, this is the route we would take to get him to dialysis. And I'm just going to appreciate this route because the leaves are changing, and they're starting like a hint of fall was in the air. And Tim would appreciate this, so I'm going to appreciate it for him. And this morning I got to take him on that route. And, I just turned to him at one point and said, I'm so grateful that I get to drive you to dialysis this morning. I'm so grateful that you get to have the experience of another fall. And I'm just grateful that I'm like sitting next to you and that you're alive and that you get to be a part of our world, you know, for however long you get to be a part of it. And I hope that's a long time. And I've been reflecting over the past several days about my role as an occupational therapist. And like, I've been an OT for almost 30 years. It is 30 years now. And how that's serving me and being able to show up for this time right now. And I think occupational therapy is like one of those professional choices where like forever I've been trying to explain to people what I do. And like, what is an OT? Do you help people find jobs? Like, what exactly do you do? And even when I was in college, I had to like tell people, I put on a fair so that the doctors and the pharmacists and like the allied health professionals who weren't occupational therapy students could learn about what an occupational therapist does and how an occupational therapist can help them in a time of need. And so we like fabricated different diagnoses, you know, and created like a whole, like an obstacle course that we would put them through the paces. And so we gave them glasses and put Vaseline over them. We tied an arm behind their back. We made them sit in a wheelchair. We blindfolded them so that pretended like they were blind. And then we had them figure out how to navigate this obstacle course with their disability. And then their fabricated disability. And then we came in and like we showed them, okay, here's how an OT would help you navigate this hard moment. And like that's since June, you know, that's what I've been doing with Tim, is like helping him figure out how to navigate hard moments. And it's so second nature for me because I've been doing it for so long that I don't even think about it as like, oh, that's a skill set that's, you know, you've cultivated for a long time. And oddly enough, like people don't exactly know how to navigate hard times. That's why they call on an OT. That's why a doctor orders an occupational therapist. Like we teach people how to function amidst a crisis moment, a health crisis, amidst a decline in their ability to perform their daily usual activities. And you know, I think a lot of like what I've done in some ways has become really routine. So I don't always like get the value of it. But the moment when Tim was like coming back around and like waking up and like just kept like running his tongue over his teeth and just feeling the grossness of his teeth after being intubated for several days and breathing through a tube, and they took the tube out and he's like still got this nasal gastric tube, and he's like, toothbrush, like I need to brush my teeth, there's leaves falling in my window here, you know, I need to brush my teeth. And so the nurse came in, she's like, you can help him with that if you want to, I know you're an OT. And it was just like such joy for me to be able to help my husband brush his teeth. And I really understood in that moment, like the value that I bring to people as an occupational therapist, the value that an occupational therapist, period, brings to a patient that they work with. And, you know, it was like the part of like brushing his teeth, but also like helping him figure out how to rehold the toothbrush again, like where to put the toothbrush in his mouth. Like he couldn't floss. So I went in with the floss and like flossed his teeth. And an occupational therapist, like we are trained to kind of navigate that dance between like ability and disability, function and inability to function. And, you know, we go in and we like function for a patient when they can't, but right at that line when we think they can, we like breathe life into that part of them and like support and buoy and like here's, you don't think you can because you haven't yet, but I know you can, and here I'm going to help you figure out how. And sometimes it means like we're giving them some kind of adaptive equipment or something to help them navigate that moment of inability with a crutch of some kind until they can do it again without the crutch. And we give them the crutch, and then we take the crutch away, and we teach them how to do it with the crutch, and then we teach them how to do it without the crutch. And we like thriving. I've really been contemplating a lot about thriving, because I really believe in my heart that we're designed to thrive even in the midst of hard times. And sometimes thriving looks as simple as being able to brush your teeth when yesterday you couldn't. And then it looks like being able to brush your teeth for the first time by yourself when yesterday you needed help doing it. Thriving is like a stringing together of just simple moments of, and some of these moments look like doing like outrageous, cool, awesome things. But a lot of times it's just doing simple things and finding meaning and purpose in those simple things, and stringing together simple steps, that create more complex steps. And I think that's how you get through hard times. It's how you get through crisis moments, like whether it's a health crisis, whether it's a planetary crisis, whether it's a hard moment that falls upon you, whether it's a hard moment that you choose, like it's an adventure that you charted for yourself and decided that you wanted to do, and then you immersed yourself in the midst of this adventure. It's still like it's many different hard moments strung together that create an adventure. And whether it chose us or we chose it, like we don't get out of, like to get through it, we don't get out of having to take those simple steps. And the more we can find meaning and purpose in those simple steps, like the more we get to experience thriving and living with meaning and purpose. And that can be as simple as it's really, I don't know what else to say about that. I'm just feeling that a lot. And I think in all of the hats that I have worn and wear, I feel like in my heart of hearts, I believe that our world would be a better place, an awesome place, if everyone could feel like they're thriving. And I think we have ideas about what it means to thrive, and sometimes those ideas look like manifesting that life that's like the dream life that's posted and, shown to us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And, but it's like, it's in all of us to thrive. And I don't think it's not so far out there that we can't access it. It's a matter of finding meaning and purpose in like all of the simple moments strung together. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Like, what does it look like for you to thrive? Are you surviving? Are you existing? Are you thriving? Like, have you considered what that looks like for you? What it means to thrive? Where you're falling short of thriving? Like, how much are you just going through the motions? And what would allow you to find meaning and purpose in those areas of your life where, that's really the difference between, I think that's, for me, like the difference between like existing and living, or like thriving is the degree to which we find meaning and purpose in all of the moments. And when we're in the midst of crisis, it challenges like our notion of meaning and purpose. And brushing one's teeth, like it becomes a rote task that we take for granted. And so we lose that sense of meaning and purpose, and it becomes like this thing that we have to do. But when you can't do it, and then all of a sudden for the first time you can, after a long period of time of not being able to, and then you can by yourself, like you have a renewed sense of meaning and purpose in that. Driving to a dialysis appointment when I thought like we might not ever get to do that again together. It had become a bit of a rote task. And today we did it. Like, I found huge meaning and purpose in doing it. And I felt such deep gratitude for just the opportunity to be sitting next to my husband, driving through the fall leaves, looking at the blue sky, and just being present with each other in this old truck that is like in need of brake fluid. Like such simple things, but that he was here in this world with me, next to me, alive and breathing. Like I found huge meaning and purpose in that. And so at the close of this recording today, like I am inviting you to look in your life at all the simple things and allow yourself to find meaning and purpose in the most mundane of your daily tasks. And if you don't find meaning and purpose in it, look at like, what are the rote things that you just signed up for that you don't want to do anymore? That you'd like to clear off your plate so that you can do those things that you do want to do, that you would find more meaning and purpose in. I think that's the end of my reflection for today. Happy Saturday. I hope it's a wonderful day for you, and I hope Tim's dialysis appointment goes well, and I'm going to go get brake fluid, and I'm going to go home and can tomatoes with my mom and some other wonderful people who are coming to help, and I'm going to keep looking for my next car, which I'm kind of right on the edge of 2 different cars, and fuel efficiency is a huge factor in my choice, and that feels really happy to me. So peace to you, and I wish you a wonderful day, and thank you for tuning in and just being present with me on this cancer journey. All right, take care. Bye.